All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of What's Next. So we're talking about what's next for Antonina Shevchenko. What's next for Antonina Shevchenko? We all saw her on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender series. We saw her performance. Everybody watched it. People have already commented on it. I mean, some people thought the performance was great. Some people thought the performance was lackluster. Some people saw it as, domination. Some people saw exposed holes. Some people it was a range, just a serious range of opinions about her performance. My opinion is that she did exceptionally well. I think that she did exceptionally well because I'm taking into account that she is a Muay Thai fighter. And that's what I expect her to be. Whenever a person comes from a certain discipline, that is their main bread and butter in the octagon. It's only a few rare fighters that can just switch it up seamlessly. So we saw the seams. We did see the seams when she switched from Muay Thai to wrestling to ground game to submission attempt, jiu-jitsu, to all of that. We saw the seams. They were there. But I do think that regardless of the seams that we saw, she's a threat in the flyweight division. She is an absolute threat in the women's flyweight division. She's going to come in there. She's already coming in there branded. And when you are branded, when I say branded, I mean you're coming in there with a lot of pre-UFC experience. We saw Holly Holm do this. Holly Holm fought at LFA a little bit longer just to get that experience so that she could get a better contract, before she came into the UFC. So when she came into the UFC, how many fights did she have before she fought for the belt? I think she only had 3 fights, if I can remember. I think she only had, let me look it up real quick. I believe that she only had 3 fights. And then let's think about, who else was there that came in and only had a few fights? KK was another hot prospect, not necessarily because people knew her. It's just she had so much pre-UFC experience, and she had experience fighting with the champ, who was the champ at the time, JJ. But anyways, you typically only get 3 fights and then you fight for the champ, for the belt. All right, now let's think about this. Let's see. All right, I'm looking at Holly Holm's record. Wow, Holly Holm only had 2 fights. Holly Holm only had 2 fights coming into the UFC before she mollywopped Ronda. But that was the bantamweight. The bantamweight division is just, goodness. But okay, so let's talk about Antonina Shevchenko. I do think that she's going to come in there with that branding. She's not going to have very many fights before she fights for the championship belt. Now looking forward, who's about to be the champion? Valentina Shevchenko. If Valentina is not about to be the champion, maybe she'll then fight for the belt. But it's a very weird scenario with them in the same division. So when I was watching the fight that night and I was incredibly hyped about the fight and I was pumped, and afterwards I did the video, I knew exactly who I was thinking about. I knew who was next. And that person was Jessica I. Because she's coming off a win. It had to be somebody coming off a win. There's Jessica I. There's who just came off that win? Ashley Evans Smith. Oof, win. And then Jillian Roberts came off a win. Okay, I'm actually looking at the rankings, so I just see everybody who came off the win. There's Sajara, but, she's so high up in the rankings that I don't think she's going to fight high up in the rankings. I actually believe that they're going to give her somebody in the top 10. So that takes out Jillian Roberts. And also, Jillian Roberts is 23 years old. There is no reason that they should get rid of her because she's going to be a top prospect in about 3 years. She just has time to cook. So anyways, I think Antonina, initially I thought Jessica I. She just came off that win. She is a boxer. We can see the stand up. Then I thought, man, am I having recency bias? Am I biased just because I saw her, eke past Rose Clark just literally days ago. And now I'm back to the same pick. I'm back to it because I thought for a second, maybe Andrea Lee. But I just don't think they're going to put her in there after, she's been exposed. Her husband has been exposed as a racist, and then she was supporting him. Ooh, that's just so sticky. So I don't really think we're going to see her for a while. She needs to lay low and figure out how to come up with a real apology and then come back. People going to be throwing shit at her ass when she comes out in the octagon. I know if I was there, I'd be throwing shit at her ass. They'd have to carry me out of the damn they'd have to carry me out of wherever they were. But so now, and then the thing about Andrea Lee is she is better on the ground. Andrea Lee was one of their top prospects. She was going to be the person moving up the rankings. I mean, they could still do it. She just would sincerely have to do some apologizing, or else people are going to, I know I don't have anything to do with Andrea Lee, but I think it's Jessica Ai. Jessica Ai is next because she's not a great fighter. No. She's taking so many L's up there at bantamweight, but she campaigned for the flyweight division. She was ecstatically happy and felt like she was at home and about to do some damage in the flyweight division after she won against Jessica Rose Clark. Also, she's a veteran. She's a name. She is a name. No sense in going out there and beating Jillian Roberts. There really is no sense. Nobody knows her. So she's got a name. She's kind of like, UFC veteran. Not old school, not old school, but UFC veteran. She's got a little name to her. And then also because she's in the top 10. If Antonina comes in and mollywops somebody, like if they give her Priscilla Cachoeira, we're just going to be like, okay, this is a joke. This is a joke, and it's not fair. And I hate saying that things aren't fair. Life isn't fair. So sometimes you're going to have to take that unfair L. But I think in order to UFC is going to put her in a space where she has a really successful trajectory in the flyweight division. She fights Jessica. Then she fights the winner of Barb and Roxanne Modafferi. That's an easy fight. Anybody who she fights out of the winner of that, easy. And then she could go up and fight literally anybody. Alexis Davis, Lauren Murphy would be a weird fight because she's not there. All of those tough fighters, they need more experience. They need some more work. Depending on how far Nico falls, maybe she could fight Nico. But I don't know. As much as Nico is ducking Valentina, she is going out and out. Just say, I do not want to fight Antonina Shevchenko. I think she's going to just out and out say it. Bitch, I'm scared. Fuck that. So let's just take Nico out of it. But anyways, that's what's next. The sad thing is, I don't think that Antonina Shevchenko is ever going to see a women's flyweight championship belt. I really don't. It's always interesting to think about the UFC's sort of business plan when they bring in these top brands. I think that they are waiting until Amanda Nunes loses the belt. I really do. I really, really do. I think that they are going to push Amanda Nunes to fight Holly and Caitlin Vieira. And then I think they're going to move Antonina. I think they're hoping for Amanda Nunes to lose that belt so that they can move Antonina over into the women's bantamweight division and let her fight for the belt after racking up quite a few wins in flyweight. But the problem is, it's just like Amanda Nunes would literally drag Antonina Shevchenko. I just think that she would beat her. I think that she would beat her badly. And that wouldn't be good for one of the UFC's diamond signings. That's what you should call them, the diamond signing. They just signed a diamond. They just literally signed a diamond, no rough. So what's next for Antonina Shevchenko? Jessica Ai. She's got the name. She's a veteran. She's in the top 10. And she was the one who campaigned for the flyweight division. And there's no ducking now. We're putting you right. They're putting her. I think they're going to put her right back in the fire. There's no problem with her taking the L because she's already taken so many L's. That she's already taken so many L's. That's my take on it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe.